Contact naps can be one of the sweetest parts of early parenthood. A sleepy baby curled up on your chest, the quiet, the closeness. But at some point, many parents start wondering whether it might be time for something different. Maybe you'd like your arms back for one nap a day. Maybe you need time to cook, work, or shower. Or maybe your baby is starting nursery soon and you're wondering how they'll nap somewhere else. If you're thinking about transitioning away from contact naps, the good news is that it doesn't have to be abrupt, stressful, or all or nothing. In this video, I'm going to talk about why this transition can feel difficult and some gentle ways families gradually move towards more independent naps when the time feels right. I'm Lindsay, co-founder of the Holistic Sleep Coaching Program, where we train professionals around the world in responsive, evidence-informed approaches to baby sleep. A lot of parents come to us feeling torn about contact naps. They might love them, but also feel like they're not sustainable anymore. So today we're going to talk about how babies transition away from contact naps in a way that respects both the baby's needs and the parent's well-being. Before we talk about strategies, it's important to understand why this shift can be challenging. Babies naturally prefer sleeping close to their caregivers. Your warmth, smell, breathing, and movement all help regulate their nervous system. So if your baby has become used to falling asleep in your arms, moving to a separate sleep space can simply feel unfamiliar at first. And that doesn't mean they're doing anything wrong or that you've created a bad habit. It just means they learned to fall asleep in a way that worked, which is exactly what most parents do. They find the method that helps their baby settle. One of the most important things to know when making any sleep transition is that progress is rarely perfectly smooth. You might have a day when your baby naps beautifully in their crib. The next day it doesn't work at all. Babies go through developmental changes constantly. New skills, growth spurts, teething, illness, separation anxiety, all of these things can affect sleep. So when you're experimenting with new nap setups, expect a mixture of success and setback. That's completely normal. Another misconception is that if you want to move away from contact naps, you have to change every nap immediately. But many families find it much easier to start with just one nap per day. For example, first nap of the day is often the easiest to experiment with. Babies are usually well rested and feel calmer earlier in the day. That makes it a good time to try a different sleep location. If that nap ends up being shorter, you can always use contact naps later in the day to help your baby catch up on rest. Sleep happens most easily when babies are calm and relaxed. So if your baby is having a difficult day, perhaps they're teething, unwell, or in the middle of a big developmental stage, it may not be the best moment to introduce a change. Think of it a bit like learning something new as an adult. If you're stressed, tired, or overwhelmed, it's much harder to try something unfamiliar. Babies are the same. When the environment feels calm and predictable, it's usually easier for them to experiment with new ways of falling asleep. One approach that works well for many families is thinking in small steps rather than big changes. Instead of moving straight from contact naps to independent crib naps, you can create gradual transitions. For example, you might start by feeding or cuddling your baby to sleep and then lying down next to them. Later, you might place them down drowsy, keep one hand on their tummy, and stay close while they settle. Eventually, you may be able to remove your hand or move slightly further away. The exact steps can vary depending on the baby, but the general idea is to move slowly enough that your baby can adapt without feeling overwhelmed. Another strategy I often recommend is something called habit stacking. Babies learn through repetition. So if your baby always falls asleep while feeding or rocking, suddenly removing that support can feel confusing. Instead, you can layer new sleep cues on top of the existing routine. For example, you might add gentle patting, soft music, or white noise while still feeding or rocking to sleep. After a few weeks, those new cues become familiar. Then gradually, you can start reducing the original sleep support while the new cues remain in place. This approach can make transitions feel much gentler for many babies. Sometimes changing the environment slightly can also help babies adapt. For example, some babies settle more easily in a pushchair, stroller, or carrier while they're getting used to sleeping somewhere other than your arms. Others do well when parents lie next to them on a floor bed while they fall asleep. The key is recognizing that there are many paths towards independent sleep, and families can experiment to find what works best. One of the hardest parts of any sleep transition is patience. Parents often hope things will change quickly, but babies usually learn new sleep patterns through repetition over time, so it's completely normal if the process takes several weeks, and along the way there may still be days where a contact nap is exactly what everyone needs. That flexibility is okay. If you're thinking about transitioning away from contact naps, try to remember there is no single correct timeline. Some babies naturally move towards independent sleep as they grow, others take a little longer. What matters most is finding a rhythm that works for both you and your baby. Contact naps can be a beautiful part of early parenthood, and when the time comes to change them, that transition can happen gradually, respectfully, and at a pace that feels right for your family. If you liked this video, make sure you check out our other video on short naps. And if you're a health, lactation, or childcare professional, or you're considering switching careers and want to learn how to support families with sleep in a deeper and more responsive way, you can book a free call with our team using the link below. I'll see you in the next video.